This is Greg Martin with Leading Edge Radio, here to complete the series on The Solution with Larry Nichols. Larry, you gave me the title, and it is extremely provocative. And, I hope our listeners and those that will view this video on YouTube, by the way, if you haven't gone there, you need to go there right after this program's over. But the title of the program is The Costs of the Solution Will Be Paid in Souls. I want you to think about that for a second. The cost of the solution will be paid in souls. Larry, I'm going to turn this over to you right now. This may be one of the most important programs that we've ever done.
All right, Greg, thank you. Pardon me, folks. Got to clear my throat. Listen, Greg, as I've tried to share with you, when I thought of the solution, and it wasn't something that I just came up with on the spur of the moment. It's something that's been plaguing me over and over and over. And it's really simple. It's really to the point. It's actually doable, but it's unbelievable. Now, for every one of you listening that has heard the YouTube program about the Muslim solution, when you walk away from that program, you're wondering, is it real? Is it even possible? Because if you've already tried to share it with somebody, you've probably already gotten a goodly number of negative comments. Well, it'll never happen. Well, let me explain, Craig, and to the audience. The problem you're having believing in this solution. And by the way, Craig, we've got Carol Chapline on the phone. And Carol, I know you weren't planning to participate, but I wanted you here for a reason. Carol has been with me for years. And part of the reason you have trouble believing in this solution is a thing called a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Carol, you've been around me for a long time.
Yes.
Remember in 2008 when I told you the paradigm shifted?
You did.
Remember? And it was even hard for you, wasn't it?
I really didn't know what you're talking about. I mean, I thought the world stood as I was seeing it. And then I really didn't understand what you meant by a paradigm shift. And then when you went on to tell me that I wasn't going to like it, that it wasn't going to be pretty, my lack of understanding even went deeper. But I thought Larry's never wrong, so I'll just wait and see. Well, now I'm seeing.
Well, Larry is wrong all the time, but thank you for that compliment. But the paradigm shift, folks, what you're living right now don't make sense to you one bit. Not one bit. If you go back, Craig, 5 years ago, if you had said the things we're seeing today were going to happen, you would have said it's not possible, wouldn't you?
Larry, we would have been calling you a nutball.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I've been called that.
Well, we would have said it too.
There is. Carol knows I will not say the gentleman's name, but he's one of the most brilliant financial minds in the world. Truly is, and he's a financial guy for Lloyd's of London. And he even got confused when he was asking me my interpretation of what the future was going to be, and I said, we're going to go into negative economics. Remember that, Carol?
I sure do.
And he said, what is negative economics? I said, negative economics means exactly what it says. Where something was plus, now it's going to be negative. Where something was negative, it's now going to be plus. What's going to be up is now down. We're in a total new paradigm. I'm not going to dwell on this, but you must understand the reason the solution seems like it's not possible is because of a paradigm shift. You're still living mentally in the paradigm that was, not the paradigm that is. Do you follow me so far?
I think we follow you loud and clear, Larry. And let me see if I understand this. People are living today in 2015, and yet they're living in 2015, but they're trying to live in the old economy prior to 2008, and something's just not computing.
Well, exactly. For example, I'll give a couple examples, and the reason I'm giving you these examples, and you're wondering, well, when do you get to the solution, folks? I am giving you the solution. I am. It's just a little bit of a complex equation that you must resolve before you can actually start extrapolating the true destination of the solution. You see, today, we look around the country, work hours have been cut from 40 hours to 30 so that employers can comply with Obamacare relative to having to buy insurance for their employees, right?
That's right.
On that one. Okay.
Yes.
Now, we turned and we took people that were making good salaries, and now people that were making 60, 70, 80,000 a year, overnight it seems their income went to minimum wage. Now people are having to live off way less income, and they've just got to learn to do it, right? There is no hope. Very few people out there, Greg, Carol, very few people out there are laying back saying, gosh, I'll be glad when we get over this because then our salaries will come back to what they were, are they?
Exactly.
All right. Now, incomes are down. Costs are going up. The economy to the average everyday business in your downtown area, go to your merchants. Any that you know personally, go to them and ask them how their business is doing. And they're going to tell you generally it's tough. It's real tough. Now, but at the same time, our worlds financially are harder, tougher. Stock market's going through the roof. Well, how can that be? Well, it's simple. We're in negative economics. You see, when our world, we the everyday people in this country, the workers in this country, as our wages go down, our hours get cut, to keep the job we got, we have to produce more. We have to become more productive. And then when our salaries are cut to minimum wage from $70,000, $80,000 a year, when our company insurance is removed and we have to go to Obamacare or whatever, the corporations making more money because all that goes to their bottom line. So I'll be up, and the stock market is down for Main Street and us. Down for the Main Street, down for the jobs, down for the hourly wage, down for real world people in this country. I mean, this is where the rubber meets the road, we the people. And where we meet the road is down, hurting, suffering, and the stock market's up. Go figure. Here's one for you. Finally, when oil hits $140 a barrel, we in this country say, that's it, and we start doing fracking, and we start doing deep angling wells, and we start producing oil here. Great day, we start creating good paying jobs. We start producing oil. Our dependency on the oil in the Middle East is coming down. That's what we wanted. And then all of a sudden, the price of oil goes down. Well, that's good, isn't it? That's good. Price of oil's down below, let's say, $55 a barrel. That's good. Well, until you realize when the price goes down below $55 a barrel, the people that had all the jobs and got the income, and finally we had a marketplace for the worker in this economy that got better, and they were actually getting to work, and we were dropping the price of oil, so gasoline should come down. Gasoline's coming down. Coffee hadn't. The price of coffee hadn't. And then we find out that the price of gasoline going down is actually, it's supposed to hurt OPEC, but it's actually helping OPEC. Whoa, this is getting crazy. This new paradigm's nuts. This negative economics drives one crazy. The price of oil is going down, and yet it is helping OPEC in the Middle East. Why? Because they can get oil out of the ground over there for $3 a barrel. They've got slave labor. Where we have to drill deep in this country, they can pretty well stick their thumb in the ground, oil will come up. They got $3 a barrel. Then they've got shipping it to here, maybe $10 to $15. So for $20 a barrel, they're getting oil here. So guess what? They drive the price. They drive the price of oil down, which you think, well, gosh, that's not what they want, but it is. Because they drive the price of oil down below $35. Well, actually, when oil goes down below $65 a barrel, ask anybody you know that's in the oil business in this country. We can't afford to drill it and get it out of the ground below $65 a barrel. Well, it's supposed to hurt OPEC, but it doesn't. It helps OPEC. See, ups, down, downs, up. OPEC now has said, together, Saudi Arabia, our buddies, they have said, hey, we're going to drive the price of oil down. And that'll shut down the oil drilling in America. And we'll become the sole supplier of oil again. And then when you leave an oil well capped for 2 years because of acidity and everything having to do with the well, guess what? The pipes rust, you got to re-drill if you want to open it back up. Start all over with the cost all over again. So it should be hurting OPEC, but it's helping. It should be helping us because the price of oil is going down, but it's hurting us. It's hurting jobs. Are we together now on this new paradigm? Things just don't make sense. And then when we move it into the political realm, this election, this past election, guys, this past election, you heard Mitch McConnell, John Boehner, Karl Rove, the Republican leadership, the hierarchy, address their base, which was the Tea Party people. The Tea Party. The Tea Party that believe in fiscal responsibility, returning to the Constitution. I mean, their fundamental good old America is the way it is supposed to be. And we heard Mitch McConnell, Karl Rove, John Boehner say that they are going to destroy the Tea Party. And the Chamber of Commerce, which is supposed to it represents all these mom and pop businesses throughout America, yet they invest $50 million plus to drive out the Tea Party and to ruin all Tea Party candidates all the way down to dog catcher. Are you kidding me? Now think about that. The Tea Party, not just formally people that participate in the Tea Party, but the Tea Party is actually the majority of the moral conservative Christian group in America. All people may not say they're members of the Tea Party, but the fundamental base of the Tea Party is the fundamental base of anybody that pretends or claims to be or is a moral Christian conservative. Yet the Republican Party, to win seats in the Senate, enough to control the Senate for the first time, to expand their lead in the House. They need victory. And the one group that would be considered, Craig, the very heart and soul of the Republican Party, the Tea Party, they actually came out and said, we're going to crush the Tea Party. You know that, don't you, Craig?
Yes, absolutely.
They spent millions and millions and millions of dollars to crush the Tea Party and drive fundamental Christian moral conservatives out in the primary, which means the Republicans couldn't possibly win in the general election because they have made everybody mad. Yet they won.
Mm-hmm.
The Chamber of Commerce, National Chamber of Commerce, taking mom and pop businesses in communities where they need every bit of business they can get. They, through their leadership in the chamber, are out slamming and slapping the face of the root moral Christian conservative of every community in America. So therefore, all these Tea Party people ought to never walk in your store if you've got "I'm a proud member of the chamber" on your wall. But they did. They spent $50 million. Spent it quite loudly. Obama said, if you want your health insurance, if you want to keep your doctor, if you want to keep, all the hospital, the doctor, everything you got, you can keep it. It turns out that every word they said in selling the legislation of Obamacare to Congress was a lie. And every meeting, every hearing, and those hearings, folks, are conducted for one reason, so that our leaders can actually hear the truth, the facts, the figures. It's a court of law. And then we find out everything they said was a lie. So therefore, you know what we did? They signed and passed a piece of legislation that was fraudulent. So therefore, we have the greatest single legislative act in probably 70, 80 years that has 1/5 of the economy in America. That single legislative act, the hugeness of it was all propagated with a lie. Every word was a lie. And we're saying here with a fraudulent bill that got passed, which created a fraudulent law, which is being implemented today. And I'll stop this little rant with the last thing, which was right before the new year. John Boehner and the Republicans who had run, they ran to win all these legislative seats. They ran based off of, we're going to stop and cancel health care, and we're going to stop Obama's commitment to illegal immigration. We're going to stop it all. They ran on that. And lo, the election was a referendum on Obama and his health care policy and his immigration policy. That was what it was. It was a referendum. And you know what? The American people rose up, voted out those Democrats, all those Democrats that had hung their hat on Obama's chain. They were defeated. And then what did happen right before the first year? Boehner and the boys signed an agreement with Obama to fund health care and to not oppose his immigration presidential special order going around Congress, which they swore was poisoning the well, and that they would fight him over it. Well, the last thing they did in the old Congress, John Boehner, signed agreeing to fund Obamacare and anything else Obama's got for another year, and they agreed to go along and fund his presidential special order that they said poisoned the well. Well, they agreed to fund it. Come to find out, they'd had a meeting in September and worked all this out with Obama. Are you kidding me? You don't think this world ain't upside down? Oh, I can't leave yet. I can't leave on this subject yet. I just can't. You know why? Because we vote out the Democrats and we put in this whole new class of Republicans. And Boehner had violated every pledge, everything. They even found out he had negotiated, he and McConnell had negotiated this deal back in September. And then he's up to be elected to be the speaker again. He gets back in. And guess what? Those people that we voted in as Republicans, we voted in a whole nother bunch of John Boehner's and Mitch McConnell's. It was all a lie. It was all nothing. So you see, this new paradigm now is starting to get scary. It's starting to get scary. And then here we go with the terrorists. We've been fighting for 10 years to stop the spread of terrorism, and it's a greater threat today than it was 10, 15 years ago when we started this. It's scary. As I've told you before, those of you listening, rub your pointing finger and your thumb together. Rub it together right now. Look at it. Look at your pointing finger and thumb. Rub it together. I want you to literally do this, folks. Rub them together and look at them. Now, the distance between your thumb and your forefinger, as you rub it together, that's how close we are to the next terrorist attack here in this country. And that brings me, Craig, to the cost, to the solution of terrorism in this country. The cost will be paid in souls. The plan I have called the solution calls for, let's repeat it, number one, every Muslim in this country must register, must go to the county courthouse in the county they live in this country, and they must walk in the door and they must register that they are an active follower of Islam. Then, law enforcement in your community will set up, much as they have with the drug task force, they will set up a terrorism task force. And every time 2 or more Muslims get together to study the Quran, to worship, to have tea, whenever 2 or more gather, there will be a public official in the room with them. And it will not be covert, it will be overt. They'll be right there, they'll be declaring who they are, and they're sitting right there. And that way, if they're discussing anything that's sinister and evil and plans to kill anybody, they're going to have to do it some other place. They ain't going to do it there. They ain't going to be able to do it in their mosque. Because we're going to have somebody in there, public officials, going to be right in there listening to every word. Then, that task force set forth in your county, in your state, they're going to be able to monitor emails. You're going to be able to monitor phone calls of Muslims. I didn't say Baptist. I didn't say Methodist or Catholics. I said Muslims. They're going to be able to monitor all that. And if they find that anybody is putting out what they call chatter, talking about attacking or talking about generally causing chaos or whatever, they're going to be followed by a public official. Not in covert, not in a way of covertness. They're going to be out there following them, and everybody's going to see it, and that person's going to know every move is going to be followed. Every word he says is going to be heard. And the purpose of this plan is to squeeze them Squeeze them till, they come to this point to where they've got 3 options. I said 2. It's actually 3. They got 2 options primarily. You see, they know who the radicals are in their community. I have run this by 11 people that are in positions in communities and in government. I've asked 11 people, police, I've asked them, and 100% agree that within a Muslim community, they know, most everybody in that community knows exactly who is a radical Islamist. They know who's becoming radicalized, and they know who is teaching people to become radical and to plan these attacks on us. They know. But the problem we got is they're more afraid of the terrorist, a situation to which we're going to have to change. And that's part of the plan. The plan is designed to make them more afraid of us than they are the terrorists. To make them more paranoid of us than they are the terrorists. And if they want to keep making their plans and they want to keep letting it go on in their communities, then they're going to die. And they're going to go to prison. Yeah, we're going to stop terrorism with this plan. It's going to stop it. Can we make a peace offering to the Muslims? You can stop this short of going home to your home country. You can stop this. Work with us. Tell us who these people are. Tell us. And if you tell us, we'll stop them. And we'll drive them out of our communities. And you know what? Let's say in Missouri, you do the plan. Well, guess what? Terrorists will leave Missouri. They may go out to California, but they ain't going to stay in Missouri where this plan's intact. Well, you know what? If you live in Missouri, that's your job. Take care of your kids, your grandchildren, and your community. Well, that's taken care of. You're driving them out of your community. Well, my God, they're going to California. Well, you know, it's up to California, the people of California. If they don't want them to come there, then they'll do the plan themselves. But you see, if you don't understand, we're in a new paradigm. You can't understand this plan. And the new paradigm as it relates to this plan, Greg, Carol, is the new paradigm that we find ourselves in called war. We are in a war. Now, you say, well, Obama ain't declared war. Boehner ain't declared war. Pelosi ain't declared war. It doesn't matter what they've done. The enemy, the terrorists, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, etc., they have declared war on us. It's just like Japan. You know, when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, Roosevelt could have said, well, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Well, let's go to war. No, we're not going to call it war. It wouldn't have mattered what he called it. We were in a war.
That was workplace violence, huh?
Yeah, he would have said,
violence. Yeah.
Misunderstanding. It really wasn't the Japanese. Oh, I'm sorry, those big red dots on the planes. Well, whatever. Listen, we're in a war. We're in the war paradigm, folks. We're in the war paradigm. They are not playing footsies. They're not playing tiddlywinks. They, our enemy, the fundamentalist Muslims, are trying to kill each and every one of us. Kill us. Do y'all understand what death means? Death means you're gone from this earth. Craig and Carol can tell you about the life after you're gone from this earth. That's fine. I'm talking about you just dead. You're just dead. This
Larry, these terrorists, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but these terrorists, they're not going to come here and kill you humanely. They will. Would you describe for our audience exactly some of the ways you think that they might carry this out if they're successful? And I say that if, because I believe there's enough of us who will do something to stop this.
All right. Number one, are we all, Craig, Greg, do you understand? Carol, do you understand? We are in a time period called a war footing. You're with me on that, right, Greg?
Absolutely, sir.
Carol, you understand? We're in a war footing. That
Okay.
means everything we're dealing with means we're in a time of war. So, Greg, you asked, how will they kill us? Well, you would think it would suffice that they come in with a bomb and just blow us up. Nope. Nope. Because under the Quran, they're living in Aglah. And Aglah means terrorism. Terrorize the enemy. They want to terrorize us. So that means they can't just kill us. They don't get nothing out of just killing us. They want to terrorize us. And as I was telling you, if you're a Muslim under Sharia law, if you turn over a fellow Muslim who's being radicalized, you turn them over to the infidel, they not only going to kill you, that ain't bad enough. They're going to kill your mother, your father, your daughter, your son, your grandbabies. They're going to kill the person that sold you your car. They're going to kill your neighbors. They're going to kill every human being around you. Why? Isn't it enough just to kill you, Greg? No. You see, if they just kill you, that's one thing. Do you realize what your neighbors would do if you were fixing to turn in a fellow Muslim and they knew if you got caught turning in a fellow Muslim, you're going to get them killed too? Do you know what they'll do to you? That's terrorism. That's terrorizing. Then when they kill, they go back to biblical times. They cut your head off. Well, that's bad, isn't it? Well, not bad enough. They will take your head and they will mount it on a stick and they'll put it out for the whole public to see. And then they want you to see a child's head on a stick. You ever seen one with their head on a stick?
I have, unfortunately, being in this business, yes. They kill their animals, too. Dogs,
they kill
cats,
their animals,
goats,
or cats,
horses,
dogs,
you
yep.
name it.
That's what I'm saying. They kill everything around you. Everything. So that you are scared to death. It's like watching a horror movie times 1,000 and then actually living it at the same time. Folks, you can't imagine the worst nightmare you've ever had that gets much worse than what they can do, which is pure fear. Now, we're in a new paradigm. We're in a war footing. So that means a lot of luxuries that we used to have, we don't get to have no more. Remember in World War II, you couldn't go out and buy stockings. In World War II, rubber was, everybody had to use old tires. I mean, you were in a war footing. You had to make sacrifices for the good of the war. We're in a war footing. We've got to make sacrifices for the good of our nation against an enemy. And this enemy is unique to the world. This enemy don't have no land. It's an ideology. I'm not going to go into all that. You can listen to the other show about that. How are you going to get this plan implemented? If you go to your state legislature, remember, we all agree, or listen to the last program, listen to every program I'll ever do. You'll never hear me say go to Congress in Washington, D.C. for a thing. Forget them. The devil has taken over Washington, D.C. It is his. Sodom and Gomorrah have nothing on Washington, D.C. And one day it's going to burn. One day it's going to burn. How do we get it implemented when everybody you've talked to about this plan says, well, that can't work. Nobody will do that. You can't do that. You'll be violating political correctness. That's profiling. That's this. They'll go to, hey, the one thing you'll hear a lot, hey, that plan is crazy. It won't work because you know what's going to happen? They're going to take that to the Supreme Court or the federal court, and they're just going to overrule it. Even if the state says, yeah, we want to do it, yes, we got to do it, they're going to take it to federal court, and they're going to overrule it. So I got news flash for you. Everything that goes to federal court is going to be overruled. You can have an election in your state right now. You can have an election banning gay marriage. In your legislature, you can vote in people that are conservative, and they get in your legislature, and then they approve the vote. They ratify the vote of the people to ban gay marriage, and then the governor signs it. And you know what will happen when we get to federal court and the federal judge? Some federal judge somewhere will just strike it, say it's unconstitutional. So that's what will happen to you if you did implement this plan. Not the way it'll actually happen. Here's what you do, folks. You're going to go. You're going to talk to your friends. You're going to spread this word. You're going to ask people, beg people, listen to that last program that I did. Learn this plan to where it flows off your lips just like it does mine. It's simple. It's simple, really. We're going to register every Muslim. We're going to be in every mosque, every gathering they have. We're going to have some official there. We're going to find out who's talking to who, and we're going to do this, that, and that. We're going to follow them. We're going to make it just obvious that we're following them, and we're going to choke them to death where they cannot talk, plan strategies to blow us up or kill us. And if they don't like that, they go back to their country of origin. Simple. Say it over and over and over and over and over and over until you can say it. So quick, so simple. And then when that person tells you it ain't going to happen, it can. Rahm Emanuel said some months ago, the truth of all truths in politics. Do y'all remember when he said, you never let a good crisis go to waste? Folks, that's the way things are done in Washington. That's how the old wheel turns now. You never let a good crisis go to waste. So may I suggest that we follow Bill Clinton? He taught us a lesson. You just don't know it. When 9/11 occurred, how in 2 weeks to a month did the whole beautifully constructed criminal law called the Patriot Act get put together that quick? Those thousands and thousands of pages. Who sat down right after 9/11 and wrote all of that stuff that infringed on every liberty we have? Who did it? Bill Clinton did it. Yeah. He wasn't even president. He did it. Well, he didn't actually do it. You see, that's why I fought Bill Clinton so hard for 8 years, because that, ladies and gentlemen, is what he had in store for the American people during his entire reign as president. That's it right there.
So, Larry, what you're saying is he, ahead of time, maybe he was waiting for an opportunity. The opportunity didn't arise. We always heard that thing about a possible third term during that time.
Yep.
But he had it all drafted, the legislation, everything was ready to go. Done. Yeah.
And the only thing that kept him in trouble is I kept hitting him every week with a scandal, every couple of weeks with a scandal. So he never got the power that he expected to have. And then he never got, well, he had the Oklahoma City bombing. But you see, it just didn't stack up. But, oh, Lord, when 9/11 came, there it was. And when 9/11 came, here comes his plan, the Patriot Act. Oh, they gave it a new title, called it the Patriot Act. So it went along with the crises and the American pride and spirit of banding together when everybody got together and sang Kumbaya. And everybody was all willing to do. It was glorious days, those few days when everybody was scared to death and actually started working together. It was quite impressive. I enjoyed watching that. I enjoyed seeing flags go up and down on every street nearly in America. I did. How do we get the solution passed? Here's what you do. You look around to your friends and neighbors. Y'all get people together. You tell it to them. Tell them the importance of it. Count the number of Muslims you got in your community. That ought to scare people when you go back to Brigitte Gabriel and her statement, her research that said 25% of every Muslim on this planet is a radical. So if you've got a community that's got 1,000 Muslims in it, well, guess what? You got 250 radicals right there where you live that could turn in any second. Get people together, talk about this, discuss it, have people come to your home, play that program, the one right before this, the one called Muslim, the Solution. Play it, get your neighbors together, y'all discuss this, and then, here's the trick part. Find the state legislator, your representative, your senator, whoever it is that you know, people you can get to them and share with them this plan. And they're going to say, gosh, we can't do that. And even if we did do it, it's going to be overruled in Supreme Court or federal court. You say, don't worry about that. Here's what we're going to do. We need you to draft this plan, draft this bill, have it ready. Have it ready. And here comes the cost in souls. And what you wait for. One state, if everybody does this in your state, if you're ready, if you get ready and you can call me, call Greg, call the network, you can call us. Call me at 440-897-0611, 440-897-0611. And let me help you, and let's get it started. Get legislation ready to be brought before your legislature. Get it ready. And one day in the near future, distant future, and I'm so ashamed to even say this, but one day, in some state in this union, the terrorists are going to strike. And when they do, people are going to die. People are going to die. And when they die, your town, if it happens in your town, and I pray it doesn't, but it's going to somewhere, when people die, your community should rise up. And for the first time, they're going to see terrorism in its true form. It's going to be in your face. And imagine this. One day, they're actually going to do this, y'all, and this is a shame for me to say it. But one day, they're going to strike because they want to strike. One day, they're going to kill a busload of kids. They're going to go in an elementary school and kill a classroom full of kids, 2 or 3 classrooms of kids. I don't want it to happen. I pray to God Almighty it does not. That's what they want. That's a coup for them, to kill our children, my grandkids, your grandkids, to kill them. Oh my God, that is the coup for their Allah. See, can you believe killing my grandbabies or yours? I'm scared to even say this, y'all. I mean, just go kill something down my spine, killing my babies. Gets them 72 virgins in Allah heaven. They get rewarded by their God. And folks, if you ever doubted Allah to be a true God, that ought to prove he's not. No God I know of would ever want to do that to children. No God. So here comes the souls. And when those children, if it is adults, whoever it is that they kill, when they kill, and I'm sorry, I wish we could be proactive. I wish we could get our stupid legislatures to hear us. I wish we could get our government officials hear us. don't let no more people die. Don't. But they're going to let them. They're going to let them because they don't profile, because they don't want to get in this war footing, because that's not acceptable to Obama, our black prince, Obama, our leader that is Muslim. They don't want that. And so somebody must die in this country. And I beg you, when somebody dies in this country, when the souls are paid, you need to be ready. And you take that legislation that very moment and say, see, you son of a bitches. Excuse me, Greg. See what you did? This could have been done. We should be doing this act right now to stop this venomous, this vicious evil that's all over this country. We should be stopping it right now, but we're not able to. So, when the souls pay the price, take it to your legislature and they'll vote it in. And then you say, well, that's great. Souls have paid the price. Humans have paid the price. And then it goes to legislature. It's passed in my state, if that's where it happens. And you know what? Then the federal government will hold a federal court, and they'll override it. No. The last part of this plan, because I do take into consideration what will happen under law. You'll pass legislation. It'll be signed by your governor. And you know what? Some group, ACLU or some creep group, would challenge it, and it'll go to court. Oh, it'll win in your state court. You know why? Because your state courts, your judges in your state are elected. They've got to listen to you, the people. They're not the problem. They are, but you can handle them. Even your Supreme Court. But it's when it goes to federal court. That's when the black robe mob rides again. And they take it over. And they will strike it down. But here's what you tell your governor. Here's what you tell your attorney general. Here's what you tell your legislature. When that federal court invites us to come, that we are being sued in federal court, you say as a state very proudly, sorry, no thanks, we ain't coming to your court. That's right, folks. That's the last part of this plan. When the federal courts attack, the federal judges attack, when the ACLU attacks, you know what you do? You just say no. Just say no. And they'll say, well, now, you know, we'll hold you, meaning the state, we'll hold your state in contempt if y'all don't show up in this federal court. Hold us in contempt. We're not coming. No, we are not coming. And they'll say, well, if you don't come, we'll hold you in contempt. And then as a part of the penalty, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hold you in contempt. We're going to cut off your educational matching funds. Oh, my God. See, now we're going to use that new paradigm, which means everything's up, it's down, down's up, right? We're going to use the paradigm in our favor now, because they're going to withhold our federal matching funds on our educational system. Are you kidding me? How's that working out for us now? Well, you can't do that. Here we can. And by the way, if you try to affect the money we have in our educational system, we're throwing you out of our educational system, federal government. There ain't going to be no more of that, what do you call it, Carol, that education thing, the
Common Core.
Common Core. Ain't going to be no Common Core here. Ain't going to be none. And they're going to say, well, we're going to cut your funding. You cut one penny out, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop sending our money to you. Money that we send to you, that you send back to us, if you send us back less, unless we're California or New York, you send us back less money than we send in. No. Common Core, you're out of here. Federal government, you're out of our education. Right, then fine. Here's what they'll say. They'll say, well, then we'll cut off your highway matching funds. Cut them off. We'll stop sending you our money. And that'll be a 30, 40% increase in revenue when we don't send it to Washington. We'll do it ourselves. Folks, your state is sovereign. Your state has power. And the federal government, folks, has no power except that which we accede to it. And we will prove once and for all that the federal government is the emperor that has no clothes. Now, Greg, you and I, Carol, you and I, will do show after show about this. Ain't no sense going in. We've been long enough now as it is, but this is the rule. This is the last plan. This is the last part of the plan. We will not go to federal court. We will pass it in a state through our legislature. We'll vote on it if you want to. The people will vote right after a crisis. They'll vote. They'll vote to do it. The legislature will ratify it. The governor will sign it. Then there will be a couple of challenges in state court, but it will pass the state court test because the judges in the state court are elected. They are your people too. And then when it goes and somebody moves it over into the federal court system, you tell your attorney general, you tell your governor, we ain't going. Don't even open the mail if you don't want to, because we're not going. And then dare the federal government. What are they going to do, folks? Are they going to come arrest your governor? Are they going to come arrest your legislature? Are they going to take the military and surround your state? I doubt it. They're not going to do that. They can't do that. Well, then are they going to put your state under martial law? Folks, I'm telling you, the federal government ain't going to do nothing to your state if your state don't want it done. And the price to be set free, remember, it's going to be paid by the souls that are lost between this day that you hear this and that day when their souls are lost because we couldn't get it done without them dying. Folks, what I'm telling you, you can ask Carol Chapline, she's here. Greg, you can ask her, she's been with me 10, 15 years, and you're going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but I see the future. I ain't no prophet. I'm not magical. Somebody's going to say, well, you can't do that. You can't do those things to a group of people called Muslims or anybody else. Yes, you can. You know what? I'll even give you the state law and the federal law to do it under. It'll fall under Title 18, racketeering, RICO. Don't think, folks, just because I've not told you all the stuff, that this hadn't been well researched and well thought out and well planned. It's there. It's there for you to see. It's there for you to implement. It takes courage. And it's a shame that you can't make some legislature in this whole country, some state in this whole country to implement this proactively so we don't have to pay for it in souls. But that ain't going to happen. So I pray this night, this day, that the souls that are lost are held by our Father close to his throne. And I hope they have stored many treasures, and I know he has. I love this country. I love it. And I think I've proven that what I've done against the Clintons and nothing else, that if a soul's got to be lost, let it be mine. But it won't be. Not for this. So, Greg, you now know the plan. You now know how it'll be paid for. Now, I ask the people, just spread the word. Spread the word. Far and wide. And talk about it. have meetings together about it, and pray. It's back to you, Rick.
Thank you, Larry. That is very humbling, very startling. I'm sure Carol would concur with that.
Yes.
But the cost of the solution, as Larry said, will be paid in souls,
yes,
unquestionably.
Mm-hmm.
And the question that I have for our listeners and those who would go to YouTube or go to the leadingedgeradio.com website, and again, when you go to the YouTube website, be sure and search Larry Nichols, Leading Edge Radio, the solution, the Muslim solution. You'll find several videos there. You will want to listen to these. You're going to want to spread the word. Tell everybody that you know, just like you did during the era of the Clinton Chronicles. Well, the Clinton Chronicles was certainly a dangerous time in our country. We see what happens when power's in the wrong hands. But today, we face an enemy. They're coming. We see. This is not conjecture. This is not maybe. This is definitely. I don't want you to develop a dark mindset. The mindset I want you to develop here is you're going to be proactive. You've listened to this program. You're going to go back to the archives on the Leading Edge Radio site. You may listen to it again. You may tell your friends to listen to it there, but I want you to go to YouTube, type in Larry Nichols. Don't just type in Larry Nichols and expect to find this video. You have to type in Larry Nichols Leading Edge Radio, Muslim Solution. But tonight, we've been listening to the cost of the solution will be paid in souls. You know, we have seen firsthand, Larry and Carol, what ISIS and the other enemies are doing. Larry vividly described exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
I've spoken with soldiers who've gone over there to fight, and what they do, what this enemy does to people, unspeakable. I couldn't speak of it. If you think what Larry described was horrible and horrid and full of horror, you ain't heard nothing. And you know what? It's coming. It's coming to our shores. The enemies among us, they're already here.
Yes, they are.
They're embedded. Larry, stop me anytime if I say too much or say something that's incorrect, because we certainly don't want to do that. But the sleeper cells are here.
Mm-hmm.
They are here. They are awaiting a time. That could be today. It could be tomorrow. It could be 100 tomorrows from now. But we already see what they're doing in other countries. We know their MO. We know their modus operandi. Know thine enemy. And, you know, I have to say this. There's a high price for even one soul. But in this case, the cost of the solution will be paid in souls. I believe that we have a chance, one last best chance, to do something in this nation, to turn it around. But if you kick your feet up on the coffee table, just decide to watch the news or check out and go watch a movie, eat a bag of chips and just continue on in complacency, or just drown your sorrows in shopping at the mall or running up credit cards or whatever you do to pass the time, just know the cost of the solution will be paid in souls. Larry Nichols, Carol Chapline, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hate the fact that the program has to end on such a somber note, but, you know, it's just that serious. It's not business as usual. It's not playtime. It's time to get proactive. It's time to spring into action. It's time to make the right phone calls. Stop wasting time calling Washington, D.C. and sending these faxes to Washington, D.C. They're laughing at you, folks. That's the bottom line.
Carol, Greg, Carol, have you got anything to say? Hon, you were sitting there awfully quiet. Carol?
Larry, I hope Carol is still with us. There will be other programs, I'm sure. That,
Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Carol, you got
you're
something
there.
you want to say?
Yeah, no, not on this program. I do have things I'd like to say, but not on this program.
All right.
And I hope to be joining. I don't know if I'm saying anything out of school or not, but I am planning on and hoping to join Leading Edge Radio with a program of my own.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we
Thank
will
you.
welcome you, Carol, with open arms, of course.
And by the way, many times Carol will be my sidekick on a program on Leading Edge. So y'all get ready to meet Carol Chaplin.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be with us.
Yeah.
Greg,
And
thank
Carol
you
is
for
wonderful.
this time.
Yes, thank you, Larry, and thank you, Carol. You've been listening to The Costs of the Solution Will Be Paid in Souls. I was joined this evening by Larry Nichols and Carol Chaplin. I'm Greg Martin for Leading Edge Radio Network. Be sure and heed the words of Larry and Carol and myself. Do not fail to act, because if you do fail to act, the consequences will be devastating. I don't know any other way to put it. So make sure you do what we ask you to do. Thank you for listening. God bless you all, and God bless America.